So the day I woke up, I was tired and overwhelmed and exhausted, and I almost didn't film a video. But then I thought, I was like, damn, like I can't talk to people about being consistent and showing up and, you know what I'm saying, making videos, especially doing one video a day if I'm not going to show up and do the video. I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just make a video about that. Like, how do I stay consistent as an entrepreneur, as a content creator, as a candle maker, while also working my 9 to 5, which I'm about to head to right now. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Let's get into it. So I know a lot of times, you know, in life, we get exhausted, we're tired, and we're like, man, how do we stay consistent with the things that we want to do? And so I got a few steps that I think will help you, as they help me kind of be accountable to myself. Um, yeah, it allows me to be accountable to myself. It helps me maintain and stay organized. So let's do the first one. So the first one is understanding that everything has a time and creating a time for everything. So one thing that I do right now is I kind of get up a little earlier before my family gets up, and that allows me to kind of brainstorm ideas. It gives me maybe like a 45-minute window to kind of brainstorm ideas, come up with a list, and kind of put everything together in my mind, figure out what I'm thinking about, what kind of video I want to work on. And it's the same thing when I'm making candles. Like I just try to set a time aside. Some weeks are better than others, and so when I do have time, I just kind of batch everything together as much as possible, so that way I kind of know, I'm knocking it out in one day. That's the main thing. I don't try to spread it out over a couple of days. If it's something like I need to prepare for a pop up and far that I try to start a little earlier. It doesn't always work that way, of course, but that is the intent. So that's the first thing. Really, is just understanding that everything has a time. The second thing that I do is understanding that silence is golden, right? And being able to kind of block out the noise. So what I mean by that is knowing me when I first wake up, I try not to go to, social media. I try not to scroll because as soon as I do that, comparison starts to come in. I think it's like that for a lot of people. Even for me, like I'm looking for a title and things I want to talk about. I'm kind of scrolling on YouTube to see how I get some ideas. And I'm starting to wander off on the other people's page. I'm like, man, they got this many subs. They got this kind of views. Like, why is mine not working? You know what I mean? And that's another thing that, you kind of, when blocking out noise, you have to think about, because even this week I was like, man, my views are lower than they usually are. Are people not liking my videos? Am I doing something wrong? What is it? What's the problem? So even with that being said, understanding that as an entrepreneur and as a creator, we do oftentimes compare ourselves to people. But that's why I think kind of being alone with yourself, being silent, or even not just being silent, just kind of blocking out noise. Don't go on social media immediately when you wake up. Give yourself time to like prep yourself for the day and different things like that. I think that is super important because it keeps you focused on what the main goal is, right? It keeps you focused on the main thing. And when talking about the main thing, that's going to send me to my next point, which is sticking to the plan. So I have a plan of one video a day. Why I chose one video a day, I don't know. I think it's just to challenge myself. And in moments like this, when, I already missed one video this week, if y'all didn't notice, but in moments like this when I don't want to show up, it's like, okay, well, this is the plan that you made for yourself. You made a plan to do one video a day. You didn't have to do that. Nobody told you to do that. That's the plan that you chose. So either adjust the plan or adjust the way that you approach the plan. So stick to the plan. And whenever you're making a plan to begin with, don't make one that's going to overwhelm you. So for me, I like making one video a day. I think it's fun. But as much as I've been working and with life and stuff like that, it's kind of starting to catch up with me because I'm, putting in overtime, working more hours than I usually would work. So I think for me, understanding that is like, okay, do I switch the plan or do I just find a way to, you know, edit my plan but still stick to my plan? And the main thing with your plan is just showing up, man. It's just part of showing up to do the job. Even if you're tired like I am, even if you feel like you're unprepared like I do some days, even if you don't have a lot of time to sit and plan the idea and execute, it's kind of like I said, turning the camera on and just talking. So that is what I do. Is I just stick to a plan, create a plan for yourself, make a plan that's simple, and just find a way to execute that time and time again. And we're talking about making things simple. This is why it's important to simplify the process. Like I talk in all the videos, make the process simple. That's why I don't do a lot of edits in my videos. I don't do a lot of cuts because it gives me time to turn it around a lot quicker. And I think that's important with consistency as well, is understanding what you can't do and understanding what you can do and try to really simplify what you can do. So for me, with being consistent, it's like, okay, I can do this, but it might not have all the frills and stuff like this because of how often I'm trying to show up doing videos. If I was only doing videos once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever, then I probably would take, more time. I would take more time to edit and focus on cuts and stuff like that. But because I'm dropping these so much, I don't have time to do that. So it's just simplifying the process. Even with candle making, when I'm doing a batch or if I'm doing singles, I already know what my recipe is going to be. I know how much I need and I know how I'm going to do it. I don't spend too much time trying to think about it. I try not to spend too much time planning it out. It's just executing and then pivoting as you execute. So this is how I stay consistent, or I try to stay consistent. There are days when I don't do well. There are days when I don't show up like I would like. But I think the main thing I've learned in life is that you just show up. You can't really worry about what everybody else has going on because everybody has kind of like a time. You know what I mean? Even though it doesn't feel like that sometimes. Like for me, I really want to be like monetized by the time my channel gets a year. Like by the time, which is like literally 2 months. So that's the goal that I'm working towards right now. That's the goal I'm believing for right now. So we'll see. But like I said, everything has a time and everything has a season. And ultimately, like you just have to kind of create a plan that you can stick to for yourself. You got to find something that's going to work for you because at the end of the day, the only person that has to be accountable to you is you. But I hope that me showing up today is encouraging you to show up today in whatever way that is. It doesn't have to be making videos. It could be in your health. It could be in your mindset. It could be, I'm tired, but I need to go do this X, Y, Z, run errands. Whatever it is, hope let it be encouragement to you, man, just to show up today. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just, what I'm saying, show up. So till the next time, have a great day. Peace.